Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This was not the easiest week to figure out topics to talk about. This is our semi-regular series talking about the game and adjacent issues. Here's what we're going to be covering this week. We're going to talk about the end of Clone Wars as it relates to Galaxy of Heroes. We're going to talk a little bit about these May events, maybe touch upon some of the new released characters and priorities, and then get into our recurring segments on my account with my gear hoard and who I am gearing up. So some quick thoughts on the end of Clone Wars. The last 4 episodes of Season 7 were great. The Bad Batch I didn't really care for, but they make sense for light side Geos. The Marstez sisters deserve to be in-game. And Darth Maul Legendary needs to happen. He deserves it. The Sith faction have been my favorite in the game, and really the faction I've pursued the hardest since the beginning, less so since Relics came out. Obviously, I'm only serious about 2 of those items. We are going to now just skip right into the next topic. We're not going to spend too much time on these things. So these May events, for the rest of the month, or for the most of it, there are 8 attempts. Take advantage of these. Refresh those nodes. Use your crystals. When CG is, relatively speaking, generous, this is when you need to be using your resources. I have basically all my farms done as a free-to-play player who's been playing since just after the Rogue One characters were released, and I've been able to do that by hitting my refreshes hard, prioritizing farming over gearing. I never have farming being the wall that prevents me from participating in events or taking advantage of shifts in the meta. Gearing will be an issue, but I'd rather have the thing that has a finite end in farming be finished than worry about gearing up characters that are constantly shifting and moving around in terms of relevancy. If you're a mid-game player and you still have a lot of characters to gear up and farm up, prioritize the new releases. Like when it comes to First Order or the Resistance, getting Resistance Trooper or getting Fox or getting First Order Stormtrooper, you can find a lot of uses on those characters, but they are not as relevant or as important as the new releases. Set aside a lot of other characters to prioritize the Resistance heroes, Hux, Sith Trooper, the Mandalorian characters when they become farmable. Old characters have become out of date. Spending the time and resources to gear them up when new characters have more usability doesn't make sense. Like for instance, I've been using Gear 8, Gear 9 smugglers in Grand Arena to relative success, which is way more relevant than having Gear 11, Gear 12, Phoenix, or Rogue One, or other Rebels. It doesn't make sense because of how out of date those older kits are. When a weak smugglers team, I on occasion get defenses out of, which I would never see out of Rogue One or Phoenix. The teams that everybody knows how to counter. And these days, First Order is basically in that category, where everybody has a JTR team which can wipe out a First Order team. Unless you gear up Hux and Sith Trooper and change that comp and make them a lot harder to deal with. So that's going to be the same for me when it comes to the Resistance heroes, who are a priority for me to gear up, and when it comes to the Mandalorian characters, who I'm also making a priority to gear up right now. Here's the current status of my gear hoard. Note the items in red. Those are because I did not record gearing up Geospy from Gear 11 to Gear 12 during the week between videos. So those numbers are a little bit lower to reflect how some gear was used midweek. Last week I also held off on doing a lot of gearing because I wanted to look at the Mandalorian characters a little bit more, see if I wanted to throw a bunch of gear at them. I used crystals to get the Mandalorian up to 4 stars. He's probably going to get a little bit of gear, and Greef Karga at some point I'm going to get up to gear 11 because I think I'm going to see what kind of use I can find for them at lower gear and lower star counts. Like I was saying a moment ago, these new kits are worth trying out more than older kits at gear 12 or 7 stars. So here are the characters I am currently going to gear up, or I'm just also showing for the status of my farms. Like you can see, Hux is at 6 stars. We have Resistance Hero Finn at 6 stars. We have Poe at 5 stars. I have been hitting those nodes hard. I've been gearing them up quickly. Hux, I've been hitting that node 3 times a day. Resistance Hero Finn has been 2 to 3 times a day. And Poe has been about 2 times a day. That was the case when it was 5 attempts. Now with 8 attempts, it's shifted down to more that 2 times a day, since I don't want to go above the 50 crystal refreshes on the energy. So I just unlocked the Malevolence, so I am going to finally take my Grievous to Relic 7. He is my first Relic 7. The Malevolence isn't really doing too much for me at this point. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I have Hyena Bomber done. I have everything else at a usable level. I'm hoping now I get a little bit more usability out of the Malevolence with him geared up or reliced up. Now we're going to take Rex to Relics. I'm just going to take him to Relic 1 for now. I'll consider more later. I want to get these characters geared and reliced up before this territory war starts so I can help out my guild and before the next Grand Arena begins. Bastille Fallen, I've been wanting to relic for a long time. I've been just kind of approaching it slowly just because with Darth Revan being such a recent meta, Gear 12 was still able to do a lot of work. Maybe I'll put a video together just showing how my Gear 12 Sith Empire team just easily handled fully reliced JKR teams. Alright, Geospy's here just to show that he was geared up during the week. I'm going to take L3 up. I'm trying to finish the Smuggler squad, and I use L3 a lot in Grand Arena just because of his pre-taunt and how he passively cleanses, well, not passively cleanses, whenever he's hit he cleanses. She is really good. And once you get past putting that stun gun on at gear 8, she's an easy gear. So we're just gonna take this. I'm doing this the slow way just to make sure that all these gear pieces are ones I don't mind using. I don't mind using that. Furnaces I'm careful on, but it is fine for this instance. Cuffs I'm careful on, but I had already mentally prepared for that. What do we got here? And this is our stopping point, but we're going to look at a few of these pieces. We'll definitely do this one for now. And that's where we're stopping. I try not to bring anyone up to, even though it's easy to bring her up to gear 12 right now, I try not to bring anyone who I don't absolutely need to gear 12. I try to keep everyone at gear 11 for as long as possible. And I've got some kind of surprising gear 11s. So we can take these characters out. Hold up. I do want to take her to Relic 1 at least. Higher relics we'll consider later. Bast of the Fallen was also my priority because when I'm running a nuke team, the relic level on Bast of the Fallen makes a big is the deciding factor on whether or not I use Grievous or somebody else to counter a Darth Revan team I'm seeing in Grand Arena. And now these other characters, we're going to just put this easy piece onto Poe. I don't know if we're going to go higher than that right now. He's only at 5 stars. It just depends on how easy these are. This is easy so far. Still easy. We'll keep going. This is probably where we're stopping. Those HoloLenses I'm not putting on unless we're going up to another level. This is easy. Yeah, we're gonna do it. It's an easy to gear 9. Let's keep looking. We're not gonna do the stun gun. We're not gonna do Kairos. We're not gonna do another HoloLens or that. Okay, so no big deal to gear 9 on Resistance Hero Poe. I'm probably not going to even use him at this point, so we're just gonna hold off on everything else. Alright, we are going to star these characters up though. I kind of want to test them out in... Wait, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to test them out in Territory Wars. Should be done with Finn by the end of the month. I'll be done with Poe next month, and I'll have a little bit of dead time to farm gear before the Mandalorian characters become farmable. But this is why I prioritize farms. It maximizes my flexibility. That's not what I wanted. I don't want to do the stun gun. Okay. We are done with L3. Bring Hux up to 6. And if anybody I don't know if I want to do the stun gun right now. Now we're gonna do it. What do we got here? Let's see. If this is easy enough, I might bring him to gear 12. No, we're not touching the stun gun. We're not using any more carbs. Put that piece on. I want him to have the health. Okay. And that's where we're stopping. Where am I on the stun cuffs? Snowtrooper uses so many stun cuffs. But I kind of... Carbonti. I'm gonna bring him up. I need him at gear 10 in order to more reliably counter some of those weaker Night Sister teams. And that has used up all of my carbs, and he uses so many stun cuffs. I think there's another 2 or 3 stun cuffs at this gear level. Yeah, there's 2. We'll get the health and the speed. Yeah, 3 stun cuffs at this gear level. And we are stopping there. I think I'm even stopping Snowtrooper for now. I am going to drop on the Zeta. And we're just gonna do these Omegas. And Poe, we might consider some of these Omegas. We're not gonna do the damage ones. Sure. Alright, we'll test them out and get a feel for them. Hux is stopping where he's at for now. So I'll be able to do Sith Trooper next, and Mandalorian is now becoming my next big priority. And I actually think I'm going to do the unique right now. And I'm going to do these Omegas. That's going to be all the gearing I do probably for a while. I need to replenish my horde. That's going to wrap it up for the week. Thank you for watching. Be safe out there. Be excellent to each other. This has been Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.